After years on the road, Toomey parked the van and picked up the mic to bring you this podcast that features interviews with people from hardcore to hair metal. This is Talk Toomey with your host, Joshua Toomey.
Cool, man. So how you doing out there?
Really good. Really good. I'm in a good place.
Very good, man. Just wanted to start out, man. I've had the, they sent me the promo link about a week ago for Songs from the Garage, and I was thoroughly blown away. Like, I'm a huge metal fan, and I was a little worried, that I was going to get, the Goat Boy song or the Joe Pesci song or a song about Halfbaked, but, this stuff is amazing.
Thank you, man. Did you hear just one song or the whole thing?
No, they sent me the whole thing.
Oh, wow, cool. You know what? Listen, that's the Goat Boy and all that stuff. That's so far from the past. And I started, when you start following your dreams and all that, it's like, you get on TV, and it was so exciting, but the public image of me was nothing what I truly am. And
right.
I took hold of that. In 2008, I just changed my whole life and went, you know what? I'm going to do everything I want to do. I'm not going to go for TV, film, all that. Just as it comes along, I'll do it, but I'm doing everything I want to do. And this has been in me my whole life. And then I really got the opportunity around 2010. The seed was dropped again, and I really started trying to put it together since then, like finding the right members, and then 3 years ago is when it really started honing in, like what exactly I'll be writing about. And I also know just what you said, my biggest thing that I'm trying to do with this is your exact reaction. I know as a fan, because I keep one foot as a fan in life, and one fan and the other foot in entertainment. But I also still not enjoy myself as a concert goer, as a fan of rock, a fan of whatever I'm into. So I'm very in tune with what people think and what they'll say and what they'll do. And I know people are going to go, what, who's doing this? and that was one of the biggest struggles. Like, do I just make up a name? Do I do a character? Like, what am I doing here? How are they going to wrap their head around this? And I think I nailed it. And I love that people are going to go, Jesus, dude,
right.
This blew my mind. And
that's how it was when I got home I got home that day, and I had it on my phone, and I had it in the car, and I was listening to it, and I walk in the door, and my wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I just heard the new Jim Breuer album, and had you not told me it was the new Jim Breuer album, I may not have even known. If you would have just told me that's the new X band,
right.
record, I would have been like, oh, this sounds great. It's got some comic relief to it, but I mean, it's not a whole lot of slapstick and fart jokes, No,
and I didn't want any of that. I don't want silly and funny. Matter of fact, I struggled with putting funny in there because I knew maybe it was too much. The producer, Caggiano, really is like, listen, we got to put a little funny in there. People, they're not going to be able to wrap their heads around this. And so, yeah, that's why there's like songs like Sugar Rush and He's Gonna Be a Dick Tonight. Even the last one, to be honest with you, my favorite ones are, I got a lot of favorite ones, but Wannabe, I love Wannabe, and I love The Unexplained. I love The Unexplained.
Mm-hmm.
And, but the whole experience was, I'm so curious to see what the public, how they're going to take it.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious too. It's one of the nice things about having the podcast and being able to hear a little bit of stuff, prior to the mass public getting it. Because, I'm a fan of you and I'm a fan of your podcast, and which I think is a great tool for you guys to use to kind of get people interested in the band and get the band out there. And, even before they sent me the link, I'd actually saw you here in Louisville, Kentucky, and bought the backstage pass with the with the download on it, all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I was really excited to hear it, and then the Dick Tonight song, I was like, all right, it's got some comic relief to it and stuff, but yeah, man, just checking it out. And the other thing, in my notes here about the album was, I'm a dad and I have a teenage daughter, and it's so funny, like when I was a kid growing up in my early 20s, I could relate to Motley Crue and partying and girls and all that stuff, and now you're singing my songs, man. You're like talking about having a teenage girl and all that stuff. It's so funny to sit there, listen to it, and then just completely relate to what you're singing on most of the songs.
Well, that was my intent too. I went when I was doing it, like, listen, I'm not going to get the 18-year-olds. I'm not going to get the 21-year-old kids into kill switch engaged, and they're going to look at me like I'm nuts. But I was listen. I got a short window. I'm targeting me, the guy that grew up Motley Crue, Priest, Metallica, dabbed a little bit with the hair bands, Megadeth, but I can't listen to this. My kid's like, look, what is this? What is this? Number of the Beast? What are you listening to? And I've been waiting for songs like this forever and ever and ever. So I know I'm targeting us, and I'm hoping to bridge a gap where our kids may go, you know what? This is kind of fun. I like the Teenage Girl song, Dad, and I like the Thrash song, and I'll come check this out in concert, because in my head, I wrote the whole thing too, as if you're going to see the concert. To me, it's all very performance driven. A lot of hooks, a lot of chants, a lot of fist pumping. Maybe not moshing, maybe just walking quickly.
Right. No, so how do your kids like it? Have you played it for them yet?
My little one loves it. I think she knows every single song, every single lyric. She's 11. My 14-year-old really doesn't pay any attention to it, and neither does my 17-year-old. She's like, yeah, whatever.
Whatever, Dad.
Yeah, whatever, Dad. That's all I am to them. I'm just whatever, Dad.
That's great. And I know your wife is very supportive of you. And how did she react when you came to her and said you were going to write and record a record?
She said, you've been waiting this forever. I trust everything you do. She put 1,000% support into it. Now here's the part that blows me away. Out of all the songs, her favorite is going to be a Dick Tonight. I went, what? That's your favorite song? Out of all those songs, that's your favorite song? I love that song. Here's a chick that goes to church and, lives like Jesus and gonna be a dick tonight. That's her fist pumping hail song.
That's amazing. So where did the idea for the podcast come from to kind of get the the members of the band out there and to let the public kind of in on the secret and let them introduce those guys to the public?
Well, it's exactly what you're saying. I know I'll have publicity and all that stuff, but I was always hanging out with them. They're all really funny, and they're just great guys. We spent a lot of time together creating and fun, constantly funny. We laugh hard together. And I went, this be a good way to start introducing you guys so other people start to get to know who you really are. So if we go in concert, or I should say when we start touring, there'll be just the Mike Ticci fans, and I like Joe Vigliotti, and that's kind of cool. It's like falling in love with the band. I grew up listening to Priest, and I loved Glenn Tipton, and so
right.
It's just here my way of introducing the band, and then also to eventually make this a visual thing. So we go on the road and we have game shows with rock bands, and we do challenges and cool stuff. So it's not just your average, what was it like recording and stuff like that, which a lot of times I'm interested in, but it's an eclectic group that'll sit down and really listen to that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I like both sides. And the one thing with your podcast too, I absolutely love the game shows when you have when you had Howard Jones on and you're doing, Name That Metal Scream or whatnot and all that stuff. And it's just like, I was like, when I first, because I've had the podcast for like 10 months or something. And when I first heard you doing that, I was like, I wish I would have thought of that, but I don't have that creative side, that side of me to pull out a, Name That Metal Scream.
Well, I have to say, not that I cheated, but I started doing this, in, like 2006 when I was on satellite radio, and I was so frustrated there because they didn't promote us at all. We were just word of mouth, and I would tell them, hey, I can get Metallica, I can get Motley Crue, and they're like, yeah, sure. And then I started getting them, and I'm playing games with Metallica's wives and they were just like, what just happened, and how the hell is this? And then I always kept that in the back of my mind. And
what did Lars say about that?
I forgot what he said, but I know he was losing the game, and he got annoyed by it. Well, wait till you hear the one we did last night. Oh my God, so funny. Gus G came back on, and he came live, and
okay.
I just got one of my puppets. I got my Ozzy puppet. He's actually a Muppet. I have an Ozzy Muppet, and we did like 3 games with Gus G. We couldn't breathe. We were laughing so hard. It's such a great. I can't wait for that one to come out next week.
Yeah, I was listening to the episode that popped up today or last night, with Klaus from the Scorpions on there, and oh man, how many Alexes? Their tour manager Alex is just going to be bombarded with Jim Brewers now.
That's right.
Kind of getting back to the record, you got Brian Johnson on there, and I know that, obviously with the podcast, you kind of had some turmoil there, and, with your episode with Brian Johnson, and I listened to that prior, I listened to, I have a podcast schedule, you know what I'm saying? I listen to you on Mondays and Tuesdays and blah, 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 so I kind of listened to that prior to the shitstorm that it caused, and I was sitting there and at work, and I was like, man, Jim's talking a lot here. This could go sideways. And a couple hours later, man, I looked at my phone and it was Blabbermouth and the PRP and all these like metal sites just going on and on about it. But I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to get too crazy on it. But I mean, how was that for you, kind of being on that side of it, and kind of I think you had good intentions and you were very innocent in what you said, but it went sideways quick. How did that feel?
The only part that I really was upset about was for Brian to be, the guy wakes up in the morning, and even me, when I did it, I didn't expect that to happen. I thought, first of all, I didn't think I had really that many listeners. I'm just being honest. I don't check numbers. I don't do nothing. And second of all, I really thought maybe people will hear it around June or July, where people start going, hey, did you ever listen to that? It's kind of cool conversation, but it's a little weird what's going on with Brian Johnson. And so to wake up the next morning, I went to bed. It was a conversation late at night, and then I guess it was posted. And then I woke up in the morning with, please call me ASAP, and all these radio stations, and Mike Teachy was excited. He's like, oh my God, we're number 1 trending. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I was in Turks and Caicos on vacation, and I looked at it and I went, oh my God. And it just, I'm trying to think of everything I said, and at the end of the day, it's amazing how they just took a quote
Exactly.
and really ran with it. You know, I remember just saying, you know, Chi-Chi's like, how do you feel? I'm like, man, he just feels like he's kicked to the curb, you know, and boom.
Right.
All over the world. And I remember Brian I called Brian and I said, oh my God, he's like, Jim, you got to be careful with social media. I went, Brian, I just hung up the phone last night. He goes, you didn't, you know, I got a call from my friend in England. And as soon as he said that, I went, oh my God, England. And he said that Jimmy Breuer said, you got fired. And it doesn't sound like something you'd say, Jim. And I went, no, I know I didn't say I got fired. I was just saying how I was kind of blown away about everything, just like everyone. But, you know, for him to come home and I'm like, why is there equipment what's up with equipment? They said, what do you mean they sent it to you? What the fuck? What's going on?
Right.
What are you talking about? Who's calling? Well, they don't really call. What do you mean they don't call? You're AC/DC. What are you talking about? What do you mean they're replacing you? Well, you know, I read in the paper. What do you mean you read in the paper? What's going on? So to just express like that and for what it turned into, the thing that I regret the most, and I still do, is just how Brian felt. You know, he suddenly was in a position where he's like, hey, none of these are my quotes. Don't go and this ain't me speaking. This is Jim speaking for me. And that still really bothers me. I think about it. I would have traded all that press in the world for that to never ever gone down. But as a fan, I will say, I don't think he was treated well at all. And I think at first the perception was like, hey, who's this guy? And now as time is slowly rolling on, more and more people going, it's kind of weird what's going on here. What's Brian made this statement and they made that statement, and people will figure out what I mean, I hold the truth. I know every raw fact, but
yeah, just go ahead and tell us, you know.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, Brian is a huge entity, and he is just as part of AC/DC as the Angus brothers, whether they want to realize it or not. And as a fan, and I think I could speak for a lot of fans, it was a little awkward that here's a man that's been with you for 36 years. He took you to a new stratosphere. He put you in the stratosphere. When you first heard Back in Black and Shook Me All Night Long, no one said, wow, that Angus Young is amazing. They went, Jesus, who is this guy? Back in Black! I hit the hat. What? How did this guy replace Bond? How is this possible? And to tour and to be part of that band, and after that long, you hear Brian's hearing is going, and he can't really tour. Me as a fan, and I think most fans would think you'd see the band together in a press conference. Mm-hmm. And they're all like, we feel horrible for Brian here, and we put so many years together, but Brian's he's gonna try to get help, and he's gonna come with us and introduce, and we're gonna look for a singer, and we're gonna move on, but you know, we all love Brian, and this is kind of a goodbye to Brian tour. And to not see that, and just read a headline that says we're looking for new singers, and you don't hear anything from Brian until Axl is official. Me personally, it's a little weird.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously from my years of touring and being around the music industry and knowing about, in-ear technology. And so you're telling me that you can get a custom set of in-ears for the singer of AC/DC that's going to reduce the noise and he can still, hear the concert. That's a crazy thing for anyone to say. So I don't understand how a hearing loss or hearing issues and, playing open air stadiums is going to be a deterrent, when you can have so much in-ear technology that could, silence the band except for what he needs to hear to sing, things like that. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, I think they could have worked around it and definitely at some point something will come out, to what really happened.
Yeah. And I think also, again, as a fan, it hurt me as a fan of, I mean, this is my all-time greatest band, to watch just the way that was. I mean, you could have made a celebration, and it seemed like at the end, when it was all said and done, Brian came off very classy.
Absolutely.
And Angus came off cold, like Walmart, just replacing a he's replacing a cashier, which
right.
Again, that's right, but he needs to know his audience, and he needs to know how much love, time, and investment and money we put into Brian Johnson. And he is a huge, huge voice and part of AC/DC and rock and roll, period.
Yeah, he's definitely, obviously one of the forefathers of hard rock, heavy metal, and all that. And just to kind of tie it back around to the record, obviously Brian Johnson being on your record, and
unbelievable.
Again, that whole, where's the Goat Boy song? Where's the heavy metal? You do a hokey pokey version or whatever. I assumed that the Brian Johnson song would be, you and him kind of going back and forth, and maybe you doing your Brian Johnson impression and all this other stuff. But I mean, the song Mr. Rock and Roll is a complete song from start to finish. No jokes, no goofing off, no, silly business. So, it's one of those things where, I was like, man, this could be played on classic rock radio tomorrow and fit right in. And so how does it feel for you to for that song to kind of come together, and then now it's going to be like the last recording of Brian Johnson, or at least the first song post AC/DC to come out?
I think it'll be his first post AC/DC, and I think it's a damn good start because, man, does he sound. I think that's the best song. I shouldn't say that because it's my song, but when you hear him first hit that first line just punches you right in your face. And, he came to me and he said, "Jim, I want to be on the record, my son." Well, oh my God. I said, "Brian, I'm going to take you up on that." He's like, no, I mean it. I really mean it, my son. And, here's the funny thing. We actually tried to write a funny song, and I think he wanted it a lot goofier. I kind of wanted to shy away from goofy, and I didn't imagine it being as powerful and a kick-ass song that it really, and kind of becoming an anthem, where the original concept, and it's still there if you listen to his side of the lyrics that I wrote, it's all about, we had a conversation like we're sick and tired of, he said he's sick and tired of people thinking I'm old and I'm out and I'm no good anymore. And at the end of the day, I'll be the last one standing. I'll drink you under the table. I'll shag your women. And I am Mr. Rock and Roll. And we were laughing. He's like, yeah, he goes, do your thing, Jim, right about spending the kids' tuition and stuff like that. And so in my head, it's a funny visual, but when you listen to the song, it doesn't sound funny.
Right.
But it kind of was first written to be a little funny. Once the King of the Mountain, back to Claim One. Now when I listen to it, I get goosebumps. And I know this sounds corny, but I swell up. My eyes swell up because I think this is his, I'm still alive song. I didn't until these circumstances happened. Nobody saw this coming. But now here he is out in the know, and if that became something, if it became, good God, a top 20, a top 50, I swear to God, I will swell up in tears for my happiness just for him to show the world I can still bring it, and I can still bring it hard. Because I think he brings it hard in that one.
Absolutely does, and it's a very fortuitous song now, with the circumstances. That's obviously crazy. And man, Jim, I know we don't have much more. Right? I know we don't have a whole lot more. I know we don't have a whole lot more time, but I do have two more questions for you, and just kind of wanted to get them out there. And sure. Obviously, growing up, I'm a huge SNL fan, and I was trying to kind of pull it in there and try to keep it music related. But, there was a time in my youth where I was recording Headbangers Ball on VHS and watching Saturday Night Live in the other room, So SNL to me now is, I was joking the other day, I was like, it's not Saturday Night Live anymore. It's Sunday morning DVR, but that's because I'm old and that's been beyond the point. But so just musically on SNL, what was one band that kind of came through SNL that you just freaked out about and had to check out, during rehearsals that week?
Oh, there was a lot of them. There was, to me, it's funny. I just was asking. I just told someone the band that blew my mind was Smashing Pumpkins, and they did Rat in a Cage, and I forgot the name of the other one, but they just, I was blown out of my mind watching them in front of me, just rehearsing and tearing it up. Metallica was fun, but Smashing Pumpkins, that was, to this day, I think that was my all-time favorite performance by any band that I saw on SNL.
That's awesome, man. I love all those, so many classic musical performances on SNL, and that's, one thing that, I think some of the later seasons that we've had recently are kind of missing, but that's neither here nor there. And then
one question, dude. I'm trying to get on Foul. My dream is one of these songs hit, and I'm able to be a musical guest on SNL. That is.
Oh wow!
I want that so badly. Like Teenage Girls becomes huge pop song for some bizarre reason, and they have me as a musical guest. It'd be weird to see the album finally gets me to host SNL, but I'll keep those dreams alive.
I know we would all enjoy that too. All right, I've got one last question. This comes from my Patreon page. Listener Eric Hall asked, using the members of the Big Four, what would be your supergroup?
Oof. From the Big Four, if I took the Big Four, and I I would definitely put Mustaine and Hetfield back together. So
absolutely.
Oh man, I would take Scotty in.
Okay.
I'd keep Lars. So now I'd have to, and then I would. Oh, wow.
Dave Ellefson, Robert Trujillo. What's that?
I'd have to take. Oh my God, what's his name from Slayer?
Tom Araya.
Yeah, I think so.
Bass player.
So what does that give me?
I think you've got 3 guitar players, a drummer, and a bass player. So.
Yeah, I think I'm good with that. I got some good singers there, and that's. I think that's my super powerhouse metal. We're gonna beat you to death.
That's great, man. So what's the kind of just the wrapping it up? What's the future of the band? When the album comes out, May 27th, right?
Yeah, May 27th comes out. We're on 3 festivals: Chicago open air. I don't know the name of the one in Chester, Pennsylvania, and I know we're in one in Houston. And we're going to play some dates in Brooklyn, New York, every the last 2 Mondays in August, and the last 2 Mondays in July and the first Monday in August at a place called the Knitting Factory in Brooklyn. And I don't know, what I'm hoping is a huge tour in the winter and all of next year. if I can do a big headline tour and the music hits, I want this thing to hit. I really do. I don't need it to be top 10, whatever, but if we could do a House of Blues tour and pack those places out and give the fans exactly what I have in my mind, I think we would blow people out of their minds with the show we're going to bring them.
And yeah, from listening to the album, I 100% agree. I think it has potential to do exactly what you want it to, man. And, just coming from a fan of metal since I was a young little kid, I'm skeptical when anything comes through. I'm skeptical when Fozzy puts out an album and it's a wrestler and a singer, I just had Rich Ward on the podcast. The podcast that came out today was Rich Ward from Fozzy. So, so I'm skeptical when it comes to Fozzy. I'm skeptical, just any kind of actor, actor, wrestler, comedian turned metal, that's just, it's always a recipe for I don't know about this, but, so for me
and I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware of it.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for taking some time today, Jim, and good luck in the future, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and I'm psyched you like it.
Oh, fantastic, man.
Take care, brother.
All right, man. Take it easy.